Miss Sharon has done them. These are also free for you all to host a screening. If you feel like with your girls groups, moms groups, church groups, any organizations, if you see something in this film and you feel like, wait, other people need to see this, please show it. It's on YouTube. It's free to do. If you want to provide snacks for the people, let me know. I also want to highlight another star that's in this film that is in the audience, Miss Lottie. She's also in the film, so look out for her. Another star who's in the audience that's in this film is Camilla and Cash. They have a cameo. Camilla actually talks in the film. And I also want to give a disclaimer. Do not judge my hair, y'all, because this was during Hurricane Laura and Delta, okay? We was all doing what we could do. And y'all know I was homeless at the time, so yes. Ms. Lottie said don't judge. Yes, don't judge our appearance. You're gonna see, and y'all know how we were, when we show this in other communities, they don't know that I was being followed with a camera while also trying to pull stuff together. So, but you all know because you're friends and family. But we're gonna begin this film. It is gonna be live streamed, so you can go back and watch it, go back and show it to your family and friends. It's children friendly, it's family friendly. It is a documentary, so if you like documentaries, but there are some things that's funny, there are some parts that's sad, and it's really gonna hit home for you all when we're talking about Southwest Louisiana because you lived through that. So I hope you all enjoy.
The future of human civilization is at stake here.
We will fight! We will win! We will win!
I'm a fifth-generation Texan. Texas is the biggest oil and gas producer in the U.S., so there are lots of jobs, and I took one of them early on.
Then I started connecting dots that they didn't want connected.
When you look with your bare eye, you can see the sky, you can see the steel tanks, pipes running here and there. That's all you can see. But when you put this camera up to your face, you can see all of these plumes of methane moving across the sky. You can see it traveling everywhere.
Who got a map?
We were in the height of the pandemic. I go back home to Memphis. I was with my parents, working virtually, and I'm on Facebook. An article shows up on my newsfeed. It says, Black Memphis community prepares to fight oil developer. It's the first article written about the Byhalia pipeline I ever read. The person who posted it said, did you know environmental racism was happening in Southwest Memphis? Environmental racism, I hadn't really heard these words put together and connected to the place where I'm from. In college, I thought environmentalist was a person who sat in a tree. You know, divestment people, divest from fossil fuels. They were making all those arguments, and I was like, man, just go to class. But this is our neighborhood. This is our community. This is where we're from.
Oil companies are big companies, powerful companies, influential companies. Plains All American and Valero Oil, they had this plan, and in their minds, I believe, there was nothing that's going to stop what they wanted to do. They were set to make this happen.
It's a roughly 45-mile pipeline, one that is needed to connect from Valero, Memphis to the Gulf Coast. And this small pipeline will assist us in making that happen.
Welcome to Byhalia.
What can you say the benefits are to the residents who live in Memphis?
Yes, ma'am. So we think the pipeline has a lot of benefits. Over $2.4 million of revenue from construction. And then we'll pay property taxes every year. We want to give. We want to be an ingrained part of the fabric in the community and want to really try to help and build the community up in any way we can.
The frame of mind of most people was, you can't stop one of these things, you know, you just can't do it. And then they had the public meetings. And the first thing you see when you walk in is this table with all these consumer products that are made from oil, you know, mostly plastic bottles and lipstick and whatever. Their big idea was, we're good for the community. What we do is good. I would often go myself with a small camera and ask questions. So what we're trying to do is figure out exactly where the pipeline's going. What would this be? And I would take a picture of their big map, and it would have streets but no names. What street is this?
Yeah, I think that, like I said, there's a map over here that shows all the pipelines.
I started getting more concerned because all the groundwater for South Memphis comes from an underground aquifer, and 1 pound of crude oil can contaminate 25 million gallons of water. Since it's going over the top of the aquifer, are you building any kind of, you know, protective, you know, layer below it or anything, or is it? And they said they would get back to me, and they never did.
For the most part, it was a done deal. They thought it was a done deal. The pipeline would start at the Valero refinery. The route snaked through Westwood, Whitehaven, and Boxtown, predominantly African-American neighborhoods. If you had taken a more direct route, you would have been much closer to a lot of upper scale neighborhoods. Boxtown always has been considered a neglected community within the city of Memphis. It was settled by former slaves. The residents used pieces of lumber from the boxcars in the trains to build simple houses on the land. It is very close to a lot of industrial places, including Valero oil. And because of carcinogens that come from the industry, they have had a lot of health issues.
At this point, we'll be more than happy to take any questions that you may have.
I'm just gonna ask, why this neighborhood? Why everything have to come down to this neighborhood?
Early on, A representative from the oil company was asked, why didn't you choose a more direct route?
We took basically a point of least resistance.
The point of least resistance. The implication was, we're going through this area because the people have no voice, they're powerless to fight back, they are not going to resist.
Yeah.
I decided to go to the community meeting, October 17, 2020. I really didn't know if I was going to speak.
Hi everybody, I'm Katie. I work for Plains, one of the companies building the pipeline.
We go, we sit, and we listen.
We want to start an ongoing dialogue with you. So we are here today.
The technique of these public meetings is everybody's really nice, so they can say later, we had 4 public meetings in the community, and everybody had a chance to be there.
So we really do try to build this safely and responsibly, and we take it very, very seriously.
The pipeline company tried to apologize to the community without saying that they'd called us the point of least resistance.
So we had a land agent who used a poor choice of words. And I want to say first and foremost that I am sorry. I am sorry. That should not have happened. What he should have said is that we're looking for a route with the least community impacts.
Now, all the places in Memphis, you want to go to Boxtown. We already have enough hardship down here.
But we want to acknowledge we've heard you and we've heard your question.
We don't want y'all to build a pipeline
In our
through
community.
this community, our community.
You don't know what it's going to take for us to stop the pipeline?
I don't. Can you come next time with that answer?
I thought, man, this is not going well for them. And then the wind started blowing.
Thank you, Doug.
God brought this wind.
So somebody put time.
God brought this wind and then your presentation fell down. Let me tell you something else. The ancestors blew it down as well.
Yeah, talk to him.
We hear you. But what I am saying to you today is this. There's a strong possibility that this pipeline will be in your community. Strong. So with that, come to the table, have a conversation.
After hearing the comments of the chief PR person, Deidre Malone, saying this is very likely to happen, I decided that I was going to say something.
The path of least resistance. The path of least resistance. That's what they call Boxtown. That's what they call Westwood. That's what they're calling Memphis. The path of least resistance. But don't let it for 1 second think. Don't for 1 second think that we do not know who we are. That we know that we care about the air that we breathe. That we care about the water that we drink. We have to fight now. You have to fight now. We have to fight now. We have to fight now. This cannot stand. Good.
No, I want you to give your name.
I am Justin J. Pearson.
I'm originally from a small town in Mississippi, no red lights, no big stores or anything. We were excited to be moving to Louisiana. I was pregnant with my oldest daughter. And I remember when we reached the I-10 bridge, we noticed all the lights. So I'm like, oh my goodness, we're moving to a city. It was just beautiful. As we were making our way over the bridge, we saw the flares. Like, why is fire in the sky? Do they have a Statue of Liberty in Louisiana? And we're all excited to get up the next morning thinking we're gonna see all these new things. And it's nothing. And we're like, well, what are those lights we saw last night? What is all this smoke and this steam? Is this place on fire? And the house that we moved in is 3 streets away from the oil and gas facilities. When I walk out my front door, I see the flares, I see the steam, I see the smoke.
Hurricane Laura is twice the size and length that hurricane.
In 2020, there was a mandatory evacuation because of a hurricane. This was nothing new for us in Southwest Louisiana. I thought we've had so many hurricane warnings, we can stay here for this storm. But I remember seeing the local weatherman post that he was evacuating. And I was like, wait, if the weatherman is leaving, I'm leaving too. I gathered all of my children and we were gonna head to Mississippi to my grandmother's house. But the storm was so bad. So we stopped at a hotel and we stayed in that hotel room for 3 days. I went home. There was a tree on the roof and the back door was blown in. Everything was gone. It wasn't home anymore. My children started crying. And I was just like, I can't fix this. After the storm, there was an explosion from one of the facilities. These facilities are always releasing something. A couple of months after Hurricane Laura, Hurricane Delta devastated the same area in the same way. They were both massive, record-breaking storms. People were hurting. They had lost everything. To have 2 hurricanes in the same year, I was like, wait a minute. Why are we getting hammered so much here in Southwest Louisiana? What is it? What is all of this smog and smoke that's coming from these industries doing? These were things that we told were safe. Oh, it's nothing. Okay, well, what's causing it to be so bad here? So I started researching these things. I just started reading about how as the climate warms, that's what causes those hurricanes to be so intense. And I was like, this is what it is. The industry that we live by, this is what's causing the climate change.
Hello.
How you doing?
It's hurricane season again.
Right.
I have terrible PTSD and anxiety
About
behind hurricanes.
Yeah.
And because I'm like, okay, God, I cannot start over
Yeah.
again.
Right.
Right? It's like a trampoline, and it's like they said that it can't be re-anchored.
2021 was a pivotal moment in the culture of Southwest Louisiana because it was the first time that we had heard people actually talking about climate change.
People does not believe the climate change. They have to. I mean,
Right.
It's like devastation after devastation. It's
Right.
like unorthodox events are just
Right.
happening, and we're doing something wrong. That's why I can't sleep at night. I was sleeping in a car.
Right.
I just really want to sleep in my bed.
Yeah.
It's been 2 years. I haven't slept in my bed in 2 years. And I've been taken, and I'm like, I'm a strong-willed, and I know all these people, and I know how to fight. But I'm tired. I don't have the fight in me anymore. I'm worn out.
People used to say that the global crisis was causing the Louisiana crisis. It's the other way around. It's the fossil fuel industries that are burning these greenhouse gases. That's what's causing climate change. We have to save Louisiana in order to save this planet.
When I worked for the oil and gas industry, I was in an office and I handled data. I knew nothing about environmental impacts. But I left that job because I wanted my children to grow up wild and free, running around on land like I did. So I found 42 beautiful acres in Wise County, Texas. We had crystal clear, clean water. At night, you could hear coyotes serenading us, and it was just paradise. I started noticing towers of lights cropping up in the distance. So I drove down in the valley, and I'm terrified of heights, but I got a ladder, set it up in the bed of my truck, climbed up. They were drilling a well. Fracking was happening in my backyard.
Oil companies have combined space-age technology with a different style of drilling. Instead of the traditional method of drilling straight down, they use horizontal drilling.
And then our air started turning brown. Every morning, my son would give me the air report. I see black clouds in the sky, what's going on? And one night, the house was shaking, and when I turned the tap on, our water turned black. You can't bathe your child. You can't brush your teeth. I couldn't water my animals. We couldn't live there without water. I sat on the floor and sobbed. Everything I had was in that land, and we had nowhere else to go.
It doesn't seem like much at first. A few geologists settle on a site. Soon roughnecks, tool pushers, and roustabouts take jobs. Pretty soon, you have a boom.
Texas loves oil and gas, always has. The excitement all boiled around money. When I first started writing about fracking, everybody locally, Fort Worth Star-Telegram, and just about everybody in Texas was writing only complimentary stories.
The United States is in the midst of a gas revolution. Right now, gas is really cheap to burn and cleaner than coal.
Fracking was supposed to be a lot cleaner and more environmentally sound than the old ways. And it was going to provide tons of money for everybody. So nobody was complaining in the beginning.
People who had a little bitty lot thought they were going to become millionaires. I started Googling and learning things. And at some point, I made an open records request to the state regulatory agency, the TCEQ, the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, and I received a bunch of videos with huge plumes of black smoke coming out of oil and gas equipment. That was just really shocking to me. I found out it's mostly methane, and that methane is over 80 times more potent than carbon dioxide in driving climate change. But you can't see hydrocarbon gases with your naked eye. I learned that there is a camera that can make the invisible pollution coming from oil and gas facilities visible. I took the same certification class that regulators take, and using the same camera, I started documenting all the pollution. It is an optical gas imaging instrument tuned to a part of the spectrum where hydrocarbons like methane absorb infrared. Pecos, Texas, is home to the first rodeo. This used to be an agricultural area. They grew a lot of vegetables here, and now it's all oil and gas. They never invite me inside a facility, so we had to get a telephoto lens. On these sites, you'll sometimes see a steel pipe with a big flame, a flare. And the purpose of a flare is to combust the methane. But if the flare is unlit, then the methane just blasts out of this pipe. They want you to say natural gas because that sounds benign. It's methane, it's a dragon. You cannot keep it in a tank, in a truck, in a pipe, in a ship. It's going to find a way out. If the general public could see through my lens, there would never have been a fracking boom.
We're so happy for everyone that has showed up. They took time to come out and fight for a cause.
From the outset, the opposition to the pipeline was a small community trying to fight back against a big oil company. Then they found some really good leadership.
Because we take our grandmothers to the grave at 60. See, because the air is poison. It goes into our lungs. See, that doesn't happen in your community. See, your ancestors didn't have to experience the type of environmental racism that we experienced.
The whole idea of environmental racism had not occurred to me in that way. I left the meeting, went home, and I sent Justin's speech around to people.
Inform, educate, and activate.
And we started working together.
It's a big day in Memphis history.
His group was going door to door. They just knew how to get the politicians to show up.
As you all know, the councilman was invited to Saturday's community rally against the pipeline. He declined to attend. I wrote him afterwards, Councilman Ford, we were disappointed that you weren't able to join us.
This is being broadcast on Facebook Live.
Councilman Ford responded, I had my staff member attend on my behalf, and she was able to give me a summary of the meeting. Who we elect into positions of power matter.
Next meeting, that representative was there, county mayor was there, ready to listen up.
Morning. Good morning. How are you? Good. Good to see y'all.
This was a Black-led movement. We were going to prioritize the people who are most impacted.
Every person in this city deserves clean drinking water. That every person in this city deserves clean air to breathe.
Protect our aquifer. They were majority white organizations living in much wealthier parts of the community. But in the research that they were able to bring to us and the connections they had to law firms and to other people in the city in positions of power really helped us to build a coalition.
Use that power and we're going to create justice right here in Memphis.
The communities that are most overburdened by pollution, these are the same communities that are dealing with the brunt of the effects of climate change.
Justin J. Pearson was probably 26, and he's the voice of this opposition.
We find them guilty of environmental racism. This community has over 17 toxic release facilities.
My mom is a teacher, my dad is a preacher, and so I've learned how to orate pretty well with or without a mic.
They are guilty because they call we black people, the path of least resistance. They are guilty.
I come from an extraordinary family. My parents had children as teenagers. Growing up, we didn't have everything. In 1995, they decided they're going to go to college, they're going to earn master's degrees, and through education are going to lift their 5 young black boys out of poverty. And then I have the opportunity to go to Maine, to Bowdoin College. I was going to school with folks who have summer houses, which is a term I didn't even know, where 1 out of 5 people's families earn $700,000 or more a year. And so I learned a lot about how the systems are operating and how my life story really is the anomaly. A lot of folks just walk with the wind at their back for so long that if they never turn around, they're like, wait a second, there are all these other forces, right, that are beneficial for them, but maybe not beneficial for other people.
Trying to stop the pipeline.
A number of people were telling us that there's no way you're going to stop 2 multi-billion-dollar corporations. They've got more money, they've got more experience, they've got all these other things.
It seemed as if the powers that be were sort of trying to fast-track this.
The Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation gives them all the permits that they need to construct the pipeline. The federal government gives them the nationwide permit 12. Local politicians were completely hands-off. So that's part of why the pipeline company thought that we were the path of least resistance. It's because of the lack of political involvement, even from our own city councilors and county commissioners.
We need you to call Mayor Strickland and tell him to join us. Wake up the conscience of the people who are supposed to represent us and tell them that we're in this together.
I started this fight against the oil and gas industry because Louisiana is leading in this climate crisis. Can y'all hear me? It's gonna be like our abbreviated environmental justice tour because I know y'all don't want to be on the bus all day. One of the things that I do here is I take people on tours to see how close homes and families and schools are to industry. And as you look at houses, they may look like they're unlivable, but actually people still live in a lot of them. They have no choice, they had nowhere else to go. Not only do we have all the industry that's here, we are the prime target for new industrial development. When you think about where industries are being built, it's just like where plantations were built near the water. Because commerce could come in and it could go out along the Mississippi River. Okay, and who live closer to these bodies of water? Black people. So if you look straight ahead, there's several facilities up here. That's why I live right behind all of that industry. I live right behind that flare. Now, there are more than 20 new facilities that are proposed along the Gulf Coast in Southwest Louisiana and Southeast Texas. Facilities for LNG, liquefied natural gas.
Natural gas, the cleanest burning fossil fuel, is abundant and affordable.
The oil and gas industry does a lot of greenwashing. The term LNG, for example, they sell to us that it's natural. This is the safest, cleanest process ever. But you know that LNG, liquefied natural gas, is just methane. It's gas that's been condensed and it's frozen and it's packaged and it's sent to these other countries, this is causing the climate change. And it's nothing natural about that. And I started thinking, it'll be easier to stop new industry from coming than to shut down what's already here. We're going to fight any new fossil fuel infrastructure that's coming along the Gulf Coast. Stop them before they even get the permits.
After what happened to me with fracking, I wanted to help other people not have to go through what I went through alone. I got a job as an environmental organizer in Texas, and I started a blog. I took the handle Texas Sharon, TX Sharon. People looking for information about fracking would find me. One night, I received a text and there was a video.
Oh, shit. Oh my God, look at that.
Of this man shooting flames out of his garden hose.
This is just a hose.
His water had been contaminated and he could run his garden hose and light the gas. It looked like a flamethrower.
Holy cow. Look at that. I bet it's getting up to about 5 feet.
I started putting videos like that on my blog. It became one of the most popular blogs in Texas. Some people became very angry and some people would just weep with relief because they knew they were being gaslighted.
There's just always smoke out here and all this stuff, and I know that it's poisoning the air, and they act like nothing's going on.
The oil and gas industry will move in next door, drill a well right next to a home, and people get sick. And they know that it has to be the oil and gas next door. But the industry will say, there's nothing wrong here, you don't see anything. I was able to prove that families like mine were being harmed by oil and gas.
I started hearing about this lady named Texas Sharon. She was creating such a furor among the oil and gas drillers, and I just wanted to go meet her. She lived out in the country. She was vulnerable. She was a single mom living there with a teenage son. What she was doing was very dangerous. People kind of underestimate that. Oil and gas guys, these are big, rough guys. So you mess with somebody's income or way of life, you know, you can bring out the worst in them.
I'm certain that my face is on dartboards in some industry offices. I was threatened. We're going to take you and your family out Chicago style. I was attacked viciously. People ran me off the road.
One of the deputy sheriffs advised her to get a gun because she was out there in the sticks, and if they got a call to come help her, it might take them a while to get there. She never backed down.
Peter, why on earth did you want to come out to this hellscape?
This is a chance to see what you're doing.
This is where it all starts. Right here in Texas, in the Permian Basin, is the worst polluter on the whole planet. Everywhere you look, there's just egregious amounts of methane going into the atmosphere. Right now, the tanks on the very left, it's emitting a long stream of pollution.
Whoa. That thing's... I'm looking at the black, right?
Right,
It's going out on both sides, it looks like.
right.
But I don't see it until you show it to me.
Yeah, that's not even one of the bad ones either.
I don't see anybody out there right now in sight. I mean, are there often people there kind of monitoring all of the valves?
No.
No?
No.
I have been a sustainable green architect for 25 years, making buildings energy efficient because buildings use 40% of all the energy on this planet. But I realized I needed to do more.
ExxonMobil is one of the successors to Standard Oil. That company's founder was John D. Rockefeller. Now some of his descendants are criticizing ExxonMobil's record on climate change.
My great-great-grandfather was John D. Rockefeller, which puts me as a fifth-generation member.
They have been called America's most powerful family, American aristocracy. John D. Rockefeller, known to some as the shrewd, tough epitome of the robber baron, recognized that oil, a new natural resource, had hidden potential. The thirst for gasoline was to make him the world's first billionaire.
Being part of the Rockefeller family makes the fight against the fossil fuel industry an extra loaded issue. We started this, we've got to put the genie back in the bottle.
Because the source of the family wealth is fossil fuels, we feel an enormous responsibility for our children, for everyone.
If I was talking to the board of ExxonMobil, I would say that right now their company seems to be morally bankrupt.
My late brother David was a shy person. It wasn't his nature to create a public controversy. My family is not one that jumps out into the public very often. But Lee Wasserman, the head of the Rockefeller Family Fund, proposed funding some journalists to look into the materials that Exxon had in its archives.
Different teams of journalists found a huge trove of documents, memos from Exxon scientists and senior executives, all saying the same thing. We understand that burning fossil fuels is going to dramatically change the climate and have catastrophic consequences.
Exxon has understood and accepted the reality of climate change since the late 1970s. But rather than tell the public what they knew, they decided to deceive the American public about the reality of climate change.
The scientific evidence remains inconclusive as to whether human activities affect the global climate. There's simply no reason to take drastic action now.
They spent billions of dollars continuing to develop fossil fuel infrastructure and millions upon millions of dollars in lobbying to obfuscate, to challenge climate science.
The glaciers are melting. We're doomed. That's what several studies supposedly found, but other scientific studies found exactly the opposite. Greenland's glaciers are growing, not melting.
Instead of raising the alarm, ExxonMobil began publishing flashy advertorials in places like the New York Times. They were actually finding and supporting people who would argue that climate change was not happening. It was incredibly effective. They confused the American public and the entire world.
This whole so-called debate over climate science has in fact been a con. Exxon's denial campaign has allowed it to record some of the largest profits in human history.
The bottom line, the fundamental thing, is that there was deception. There were decades and decades of deception.
Trouble taking place in the lowlands.
the people who are fighting in the Permian Basin and the Gulf Coast, they are underfunded and outspent by the industry. So we decided if you want to stop the infrastructure build out of the oil and gas industry, this is where our money is going to count the most.
All right, yes, sir. You have a good day. Sorry about that. My phone ring all day.
So this place that you live in is already doing more than its share
Already.
to produce energy for this country and for the world.
Right. There's more than 24 facilities proposed along the Gulf Coast. So stop. We don't need any more. We need projects and jobs that are actually going to help the people enhance this area, make this area a better place to live. We don't want to stay in recovery mode. We don't want to be resilient. We just want to be normal. Does everybody have a sign to hold? Yeah. I'm trying to get a count of who's getting on the boat. There's no cookie cutter way to organize because every community is different. Here in Southwest Louisiana, we're banding together to stop all these LNG facilities that they're putting into the Gulf Coast.
The LNG Americas Summit and Exhibition is taking place in Lake Charles.
Many local officials are proud to see the area called the LNG capital of the world.
We're just in the beginning phase of fighting, but we're chipping away at this monster.
Pipeline companies usually win. Communities usually get run over. They think they're going to be able to come here and do whatever it is they wish without us fighting back. But we also know the legacy and history of black movements, black resistance. That eternal optimism that we can resist. And when we fight back, we can win.
Today is a discussion of the proposed Bahia pipeline.
Good afternoon, everybody.
The representative from Plains All American appeared on the Zoom for Memphis Rotary.
Let me ask a few questions for you to consider. How many of you put on deodorant, lipstick, perfume, or cologne today? Again, I know working at home might not be as critical for some, but I know for me, I did put on deodorant today. All of these products are made from oil and gas, something that's absolutely critical to our way of life.
They just sort of laid it on heavy that this was a good thing and it was going to happen anyway, whether you agreed with it or not.
The route was not driven by race, class, gender, or any other demographic.
I'm going to try and share the screen here. This is home, not being paid by a billion-dollar company to come before you. The strategic tactic that they use with political contributions, we learned that a prominent church pastor has received $50,000. The NAACP has taken $25,000. They give money to the communities, and then they assume that that's going to be enough of an opiate to stop people from resisting.
Your company provided several hundred thousands of dollars in grants to Rotary organizations in Memphis. How do you respond to critics who say that you were buying approval for the pipeline?
We give and get involved because we believe in being a good neighbor.
We always had to be more prepared than the pipeline companies. They were doing this for a living. This was their job, right, to see how they could build the pipeline. Almost all of us had different jobs in addition to doing this. And so we really had to give of ourselves and our time to get it right.
Hey, Moss. I said, man, your daddy built the house.
Yes, he did. My dad built his house.
Ain't that awesome?
The community of Boxtown is hallowed ground in a lot of ways. How y'all doing? Very good. Because this is a place where formerly enslaved African Americans helped to turn their freedom into real property, into a place for community. And for it to be considered a point of least resistance is really saying that that history was unimportant and didn't matter. But what it did was actually invigorate the people here who believe in the value of this place and of the people who helped to create it.
Don't take my land. That's what about a dozen property owners in South Memphis are saying to a Byhalia pipeline company. Byhalia Pipeline filing eminent domain lawsuits against property owners who won't sell portions of their land.
It is morally reprehensible that you, for your own profit, would be able to steal someone's land.
Hey there.
Hey.
How are you?
I got some letters from this company sending me a package signed here. Signed here. And we're going to take your property and we're going to survey it. Would you? And I told him, I said, no, my mother had it surveyed a while back. I don't need you to survey anything. Don't survey anything. I'm not selling. I don't want any money, period. My mother's name was Elmeda Odell Washington. She was the property owner. And she willed it over to my daughter and myself. Mm-hmm. And my mother worked hard so that her mother and father would have somewhere to stay. They had gardens and fruit, plums, peaches. Ooh, you just couldn't tell us that we were poor. We didn't know it, you know, but we had love.
Yeah.
And neighbors respected neighbors. And you're gonna tell me we can't have our own property that we were paying property tax on, my mother bought it and paid for? You're gonna tell me that I'm gonna give it to you and you're gonna take it? And I told him I'm not selling. I don't want to sell.
We have that deep-seated faith that God will provide. I promise you, we're gonna find you an attorney.
Sometimes you get tired of fighting all the time. But you got to stay and you got to hang. And when it's not just about you, I think that is the motivator for the fight.
This has been the fight of my life. I'd go to sleep maybe 4 or 5 hours, wake up and get to work. From my bed to my desk, because they were in the same room. And my family would come bring me food every now and then. I mean, I got a good family, right? That's what we were really fighting to protect, right?
Yeah, we gonna win.
It is the love of your family and place, the sense of place, that really fuels us. Both of my grandmothers died of cancer. We learned the risk was 4.1 times greater in Southwest Memphis than the national average.
To think about my mother and to think about my mother-in-law who have been affected by toxic facilities. I watched my mother work very hard from 3 to 11 to raise 5 kids. And when it was time for her to see the fruits of her labor, she was no longer here. And when my baby stood up and spoke to his ancestors and spoke to the lives of his grandparents and spoke to his history for a young man to care so deeply, to put others before himself, is just an honor to be his mom.
The oil and gas industry has never been adequately regulated, but I started making complaints to the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, TCEQ, so that we will have a documented trail of evidence.
Look, you can see the fans not turning on the compressor. Maybe you can get a picture of that, Miguel.
Yep.
I'm working with Miguel Escoto and Tim Doty, who worked for 29 years for the TCEQ.
The TCEQ's job responsibility is to issue permits. Once the permit is granted, it's not like the state of Texas ever comes back behind them to verify the concentrations or the quantities of emissions.
It kind of goes down a little.
The only time that you might find out they're not within their permit is if somebody like me reports them.
This is the compressor that is not working, it's off.
I make a complaint, and they are supposed to then do an investigation.
It's this compressor right here.
We write down what we saw.
The fan's not turning.
That goes to a database.
Okay, let's move. The last time I told an operator that his flare was out, he cursed at me. Then they asked me, "Are you the one who puts us on YouTube?" Well, yes, I am.
Our reputation precedes us. Most of them should have field notes.
In the evening, we sort all of that out.
Okay, so that is 99 and 1500?
Correct. You're ahead of me.
Okay, we're cranking it out.
I've been making these complaints to the state since 2014, somewhere around 400 complaints. The last time that we checked, it was only about 11% that had some kind of action taken, and that doesn't mean they get a fine. They might just send the operator a questionnaire to fill out.
The people who regulate oil and gas, the TCEQ, they don't want to know for the most part. They're there to protect oil and gas, not to really to regulate them.
I worked with Sharon for about 4 years. I would join her on the road and be the getaway car driver. I don't call her Texas Sharon, I call her Texas fucking Sharon.
I grew up with a single mother and 2 brothers. We spent most of our time on our grandparents' farm. We'd ride the horses from the time I was little bitty. It was just a really good way to grow up. But, you know, my mother was single, and so we were very poor.
She's a horse lady. She was a teacher. She's also a mom. So I think she can relate to a lot of people. She speaks the language.
I'm going to show you the dirty secrets the industry does not want you to see.
She is never gonna stop. She's just gonna keep going.
Most people don't know the role that methane plays in climate change. They don't know how close to the precipice we are. I can be depressed and sad about it, or I can be angry and use that energy to do something. And that's where I stay pretty much. I'm full on rage all the time.
FERC, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, is a hidden agency. FERC is one of those agencies that you weren't taught when you were taught about the systems of government and the different levels of power. They regulate LNG facilities. They hold the power to give and to deny their permits. We decided that if FERC really wanted to understand what we were going through, they had to come to our communities.
I'm here today from Southwest Louisiana to say, talk to folks on the front line, come into the community, talk to us and ask us what we want.
It was hard getting them here, but we finally got them into the Gulf Coast to visit with myself and John Beard of Port Arthur Community Action Network.
Over that way, farthest to your right, by that red and white water tank, you're talking about processing over 600,000 barrels of oil per day.
They did a tour. They were able to see some facilities. They saw a lot of pollution. So we felt like they were going to deny Commonwealth LNG and say, this is it. We're no longer approving these projects. But instead, they approved it. This massive LNG facility they said that they had no choice because there was a human need. It's like they automatically say, okay, we're gonna just find the place with least resistance. I'm realizing that this fight is harder than I thought. We talk about climate change and global warming, and Cash thinks that the industry is a city. He thinks it's Gotham City and Spider-Man is over there. That he's for, so. What you be saying about the industry when we pass it, and how you feel about it?
Remember what I said yesterday?
What?
I said, if you don't get the industry to stop, it's gonna be the reason why they world.
If I don't make the industry stop, that's gonna be the reason why the world. So you feel like the safety of the world is in my hands?
Kinda.
That's a big job for me. That's a lot of
I don't know.
responsibility. You had that kind of faith in me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh.
The narrative changes. Path of sacrifice zones. Sacrificial side deals. Sacrificial side deals like Senator Manchin's. Through the haulers of West Virginia and the indigenous communities of North Carolina and Lookout Mountain of Tennessee, they have this narrative, but we've got a different narrative. We are a different narrative.
We're gathering in Washington, D.C. to stop the Mound Valley Pipeline. And the reality is, if we make it easier for pipelines to be built in North Carolina or West Virginia or Virginia, we're making it easier for them to be built in Memphis, Tennessee, and other parts of our country, too.
All right, we're here. Let's do this thing. God and surrender to accept the things that cannot change. Courage to change the things that can, and live them to know the feeling.
It's good to see all of us from different parts of the country gathering to use our collective power to make a strong stance on behalf of communities that are being marginalized.
We get together once a year just to celebrate each other, but also to learn from each other what's working, what's not working. Good evening, everyone. I think I cried all day, and it's probably the only moment I've smiled today because I've been doing a lot of lobbying. I've been on the Hill, and I've been talking to the people who don't care about us. They don't listen to the people who are on the front lines, who live in these communities, and enough is enough.
I am Justin J. Pearson, president of Memphis Community Against the Pipeline. We've got to talk about the systemic issues in our country. We've got to talk about the systemic issues that have created sacrifice zones and sacrificed people. Byhalia Pipeline, they called us the path of least resistance. It was, for them, it was part of the narrative. It was something they wrote down, that we're going to hurt the community, that's the path of least resistance. But they don't know that we too are narrative writers. We too are narrative changers. See, they didn't meet 70-year-old Scotty Fitzgerald who said, I'm never going to sell my land because it's too valuable to our future generations. These companies, they've got their narratives. And we've got a different one. We've got a narrative powered by the voices of ancestors. They're letting us know that we're gonna win. because we will never quit. So we will fight. We will win. We will fight. We will win. We will fight. We will win. We will fight. We will win.
For me, the most powerful voices are the voices of the activists. They are seeing and feeling in their families, in their communities, the horrific consequences of the climate crisis. In my view, they're really as close to a key to solving this crisis as we can find. My daughter, Corinna, told me about this fight in Memphis, Tennessee. So I drove to Memphis in my camper van, found an electric plug in the parking lot of Graceland, and went over and joined one of the protest events.
This pipeline project is a reckless, racist ripoff.
Vice President Al Gore helped to prove to our entire community that this mattered. It was also an encouragement for people who were getting tired.
When the pipeline representatives said this is the path of least resistance, least resistance, I see a lot of resistance here today.
There was a time when many of us held out hope that the oil and gas companies would genuinely participate in the development of solutions to the climate crisis. But more recently, it's become painfully clear that they have no intention of doing that.
The committee will come to order. This is a historic hearing. For the first time, top fossil fuel executives are testifying under oath about the industry's role in causing climate change and their efforts to cover it up.
My name is Darren Woods. I'm the Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of ExxonMobil Corporation. Our understanding of the science has been aligned with the consensus of the scientific community as far back as 20 years ago.
In 2002, your former Exxon CEO Lee Raymond said he does not believe, quote, that the science establishes the linkage between fossil fuels and warming.
I don't think it's fair to judge something 25 years ago with what we've learned since that.
Well, I'm disappointed that you're not even willing to say that something is a mistake.
ExxonMobil provides an essential component of modern society: affordable, reliable, and abundant energy. Our scientists and engineers are applying their expertise to help responsibly meet the world's need for energy, while working to find ways to accelerate the transition to a world with fewer emissions.
If you think about it, 40 years ago, if Exxon had come clean and said, we're a huge multi-billion-dollar company, we can start putting our resources into more discovery of alternative sources of energy, we would be in a totally different place right now.
Miranda Kaiser, the great-great-granddaughter of the founder of Standard Oil, is using part of her family fortune to support over 30 lawsuits against ExxonMobil and other parts of the fossil fuel industry.
We would like Exxon to pay for the damages that they have caused, to be honest about what they knew then, what they know now, and what they know their product will continue to do to the earth.
Now, we reached out to ExxonMobil for comment, and they wrote back, quote, secretly funding lawsuits and co-opting politicians and state officials to attack us for comments we may or may not have made decades ago makes a mockery of the legal system.
This is what they tend to do when they're criticized, is that they lash out. I would like them to address the substance of the problems here. We can hit them where it hurts. We can take these cases to court and hope that they will pay for the damage that they've caused. They do not listen to science. They do not seem to care about the future of the world or its inhabitants. The one thing that we know they care about is money and their profits.
When Texas Sharon started off as kind of the lone voice in the wilderness, she didn't have a lot of backers. All the crap she took in the beginning, you're a liar, you don't know what you're talking about, you're exaggerating, she pretty well proved them all wrong. As each year goes by, she's been proven more and more right.
Some troubling news coming out of the United Nations Climate Summit. The Permian Basin is the biggest source of pollution, not just in the U.S., but the entire planet. Environmentalist Sharon Wilson is the state's biggest watchdog of methane emissions. What's your response to this news that the Permian Basin is #1?
It does not surprise me in the least. The industry isn't even trying to stop. They are just moving as fast as they can, trying to make money.
I have spent 20 years documenting how oil and gas have accelerated climate change. If you get a mammogram and you find out you have breast cancer, you don't continue to keep getting another mammogram. You have to take action. We have the technology to convert to renewable energy, but the oil and gas industry has to be stopped.
Cash, what you looking for? You can play in the sand right there. Is that okay?
When I first came to Louisiana, I worked at the casino. Now, I have my bachelor's degree and my master's degree, then I'll be going on to get my law degree.
I see you. You're doing such a good job.
In fighting these industries, we need lawyers so that we know what our rights are and what we can and can't sue them for, or what they can and can't do in our communities.
Ms. Ozane, you are now recognized for your testimony.
Even if we don't agree on climate change, we have to agree that something caused so many detrimental storms in one area in such a small amount of time. The only thing that's changed is the amount of oil and gas industry. And right now we have more than 24 proposed projects along the Gulf Coast. We can't take anymore.
In a major victory for the climate movement, the Biden administration Friday paused approvals for new liquefied natural gas, or LNG, export terminals.
We're here today to applaud the much-needed pause on gas exports. We thank all the activists who are here with us today. They have been leading.
We are very happy with this decision, but each of us here know that the fight must continue. Thank you.
It was a Friday before the 4th of July. My phone buzzed and it says, Plains All-American has filed a 8K form. So I go to the website and I'm looking at this form. At the very bottom, it says, Plains All-American has decided to not go forward with the Byhalia Connection pipeline. And I thought, what?
My phone is just like.
The Byhalia pipeline has been canceled by Plains All-American.
I tell my brother to call my mama first so she knows, then I just start screaming.
The movement lives in Memphis, Tennessee, where people care about one another.
On Friday, the company behind the controversial Byhalia oil pipeline announced it is no longer pursuing the project.
The company did not mention the opposition. Instead, it said the pipeline is being canceled primarily due to lower U.S. oil production resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic. Yeah, right. In the end, the affected neighborhoods were anything but the point of least resistance. They fought a powerful oil company and won. How cool is that?
Shut it down! Shut it down! Environmental justice! Now!
It has fallen to the grassroots activists to speak up with the voice of sanity. The future of human civilization is at stake here. That sounds dire, sounds apocalyptic. Unfortunately, it is the truth. We have to join them, and we have to find ways to stop the continued expansion of fossil fuel infrastructure.
Shut it down! I want to turn and change those who are against us, those who don't understand. What do we have to do to touch them, to prick their heart, to change them?
Nobody is going to get out of the consequences of climate change. It is all of our climate. This is all of our planet. And we will all be screwed if we do nothing.
The fossil fuel industry has given us many things that have benefited the society and the economy, but it's over. We're done. It's time to wind it down.
Corporations should be scared. They should be scared when people start to organize for a different future. They should be scared when the truth gets told in order that we might get to justice. They should be scared because we are learning the possibility of solidarity. That black folk and white folk, rich folks and not so rich folk, when they organize and discuss and plan together, that something can change, that shackles can be broken, that together we will win.
Where is he from? Like we don't know y'all. And I really fought hard because I was like, if Patagonia is paying somebody to tell our stories, I felt like the way they should have done it, if they were using EJ principles and Hamad's principles, they would have come to this community and found videographers and filmmakers and paid them so that money could have gone into this community. So I was very resistant. I was like, I'm not doing this for a show. Y'all didn't see them in my house. Because I didn't know who they were, and so you can probably see some of that reserve in me, like, I don't really trust y'all, I don't know y'all. But as it went on and I got to know them and I got to know the other people that were fighting, I was like, okay, let's tell this story, and I was more open. And because of that, more eyes have come to our community. More people have been able to get help. You all saw members of the Rockefeller family who came here to meet with me. I was like, you a Rockefeller? Write me a check. So whenever you ask like how Vesta Project is helping, it's people like that who came here. I gave them a tour. This video is an hour and 20 or 30 minutes. They filmed us for years. Like this is not overnight. They followed me for like 3 years. So at one point you hear me say Cash is 4, he's 8 now. One point you hear me say in 2020 because it was like 2 years after the storm. But then at one point you see me walking right after the storm. They filmed us, and it's a lot of material. So there's other things that's gonna come from that as well. Like whenever we were feeding people right after the hurricane, it's all documented. So I want you all to know that the other thing that I fought for, whenever we were making this documentary, I asked them, how is this going to benefit my community? Because it's not about me, but what is it gonna do for my community? And because of that, several people that are not shown in the film that we've helped, have gone from homelessness to now they have a house. Folks have gotten jobs and people have joined the movement. Y'all saw some people in there that y'all see fighting strong every day. Breon was in there. She was just, a volunteer who was with me. And now she's working for Healthy Gulf where I started because I recommended her to take my place. James, who y'all see, helped him start his organization. Alyssa, who has Habitat Recovery. A lot of those folks were just people I was like, let's go to DC, let's go to New York, who wanna go with me? And they went. Miss Lois, Miss Deborah, people who have been fighting forever without enough recognition, without support, without funding, and they're still fighting. I remember we were in New York and Miss Deborah and Miss Lois got arrested for like shutting down one of the banks, like not letting people in the bank. Somebody from Lake Charles called me like, why my auntie in jail? I said, your auntie wanted to go to jail, baby. She is an activist. She is a fighter. She said, lock me up because I'm not moving. So people have been fighting. And I know this is a taboo topic in the South, especially in Louisiana, when we talk about climate change, when we talk about global warming. In the South, we tend to connect those topics to religion and politics. We feel like if you believe in climate change, you must be a Democrat. If you can't be this certain religion and believe in climate change because you can't believe in science and believe in God. So those are the type of things we hear a lot, and people don't join the fight, unfortunately. But the numbers are there. The proof is there. I mean, we've lived through these hurricanes. And like the science shows, the thing that's changed here in Louisiana and along the Gulf Coast is that our coastline is disappearing. Our wetlands are disappearing. We're not able to catch as many crabs as we were a few years ago. We're not getting as much shrimp as what's happening to it? Why is it disappearing? Where is it going? Why are these hurricanes getting stronger? Why is it that it's a normal day when it rains, it's a torrential downpour? What has changed? Why is it that when you walk on the beach on I-10, there's a big green sign that says, do not swim in the water, do not kayak in the water, do not play in the water? What happened to the water? So it's right in our face. And as you can see, everyday normal people can win against these industries. They like to make us think that we don't have power, that they're bigger than us, that they have the money, that they have the connections. They're gonna blackball us. You're not gonna get this, you're not gonna get that. And then we turn around and we have the argument, I work for the plant. You know, my husband works there, my friend, my family works there. Jobs, jobs, jobs. But how much is your life worth? How much is your children's life worth? How much is your history, your culture, the land where your ancestors literally bled and died? How much is that worth? What is the price on it? We can say no. Many people in Mossville said no when the industry came, and they still live there and they're still fighting. And when I tell you they fighting, they are fighting. Like it's not over. So if anybody wants to join in the fight against any of these giants that's coming to us, and there are many. You know, sometimes you hear people talk about LNG or petrochemicals or data centers. It doesn't matter the name of it, because at the end of the day, the community that they're coming after looks the same. Low income, Black, brown, indigenous communities. You saw the map in Boxtown. They decided to take a longer route so they could go through the Black community as opposed to taking a short, quick, straight route. Because I know when I was in middle school, I learned that the quickest way to any point is a straight line. Why would you take a line that's all curved and looped? It's the same thing in Louisiana. The pipelines they're trying to bring here, we call it a spaghetti bowl of pipelines because that's exactly how it looks on the map, like a bowl of spaghetti. Why would you go through all of these little towns as opposed to going straight from the point A to point B in a straight line? Why are you resisting that area? Because you are intentionally going in these lower income Black and brown communities. Just because you don't see a facility in North Lake Charles does not mean North Lake Charles is not impacted by the facilities. Water pipelines, how is it traveling? Where are the railroad tracks that's carrying it? I don't know how many of you heard about the train derailment that happened in the Ohio River Valley. That train that derailed there started in Westlake. The products on there comes from Westlake. How many communities did it go through before it got over there? And it caused all that pollution, and now that community just won a settlement. But those people have to live with that forever. Those children have that stuff in their lungs and in their systems, their air, their water, their soil. They had to move because their soil was so contaminated. How many of you know why they're doing the bridge job the way they're doing it right now? The real story of why they can't take down the I-10 bridge. If they move any piece of that brick from that bridge, we will all be poisoned, because they don't know the chemical compound from the stuff that's leaked there. The industry that was there before was Phillips 66, but I want y'all to know it's the same company. They changed their name. The reason they changed the name is because of the damage they had done, and they had been sued, so they changed their name like they were a different company so they wouldn't have to clean up the mess. Because what happens in Louisiana, because of our laws, is that after a certain time when their contract ends, the responsibility of what happens from those industry falls on the state of Louisiana. Who is the state of Louisiana? The people, us. So we are responsible for the damages they've caused. So if I'm impacted, if I got sick, who are supposed to sue me? Because that company don't exist anymore. Their contract is over. Now the state has the responsibility, and the state is not a person, so we are the state. So who am I supposed to go after? Like, these are the things that we don't know. Louisiana has primacy over these new wells they're trying to inject, when we have wells that we don't even know where they are. Did y'all know that they have wells in this state that they don't know where they are? They don't know who owns these wells, but yet they're trying to put pipeline in new wells for new product, and not 1 ounce of this product is for domestic use. Not 1 ounce of this product is going to the United States. Not one. But the people who are in government are getting rich. Y'all just saw Elon Musk become the first billionaire. He has all of this money. The state of Louisiana just won a $1.5 billion lawsuit against Meta, while Meta is getting land in Louisiana. Like, people don't see the connections in plain sight. The Woodside LNG facility that couldn't reach final financial investment, they just turned their money over to private equity. And the person whose firm got that money is President Trump's best friend, who just bought all this land next to Mar-a-Lago. Like, why aren't we? It's plain sight. Like, these are not conspiracies. I don't believe in conspiracies. This is real factual data, things that are actually happening, that they're telling us. It's on KPLC, the news is telling you, the governor is telling you, but we're not paying attention because we all have our own individual things going on. We're trying to figure out how we're gonna pay our bills, what we're gonna eat, how we're gonna take care of our children. And that's why Vessel Project exists. We wanna make sure that those needs are met. So you're not worried about what you're gonna eat. You're not worried about how you're gonna pay your bills, so that you can be active in the community and pay attention to your civic duties. The only way you can do that is if you're not at that bottom level of needs. So thank you all so much for coming. If there is anything that you need or need help with or don't understand, please reach out to me or my staff who is in the back, Alasia, Maddie, who's in the back. Maddie is probably exhausted. Y'all, Vessel Project never stop. We go 24/7. I'm telling you, I got to give these people a break. Corey is one of our volunteers sitting in the back. Y'all know he's a bus driver. LaRasia, I call on LaRasia for everything. I also want to announce for the moms that are here, we have started, and this is not Vessel Project, but we have started a moms group. If you are a mom with children of any age, because people have been asking me, what if my children grown? You are still a mom. Please come to our moms meetings. Y'all, these moms are so vulnerable. They're dealing with so much, and the things, the stories, we all can relate to at some point. But what their children are going through, the stories of bullying that are happening. School been in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. The number of gangs amongst our preteens, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15-year-old kids in gangs. Like, these were the kids that the gangs were protecting when I was young. Like, they protected the kids and the elderly people and the women. But now these are the kids that are in the gangs. The little boy who brought the gun to school yesterday had that gun at school till 2:50. That's the time they leave. He had went to every class on his schedule with a gun. Like, what if somebody would have said the wrong thing to this child? Y'all, these moms need this wraparound. They need to see support from other moms. They need to hear they're not alone and hear stories of how other moms have gotten through it with their kids, their teens, their preteens, who were bullied, who were rebellious. Moms with, without dads in the house. So please, if you are available, come out. We would love to have you. We have free drinks and free food. I'm not going to say y'all what all we do. You got to come see. And the last thing is that we also have our teen fireside chats. We just trying to do what we can. These teenagers, that's another interesting place to be. When they feel like they are free to say what's on their hearts, it's hard to hold back the emotion. These kids are so young, going through so much. And they just want somebody to talk to. They just want somebody to listen. They just want somebody to understand and not feel judged and not feel like they're the only one, or because they made a mistake, they can't change. Because that's what they keep hearing. We got no, I made mistakes. Y'all heard me say on that film, I was 18, pregnant with Kia. That's how I ended up here. If I wouldn't have had Kia as a teen, y'all wouldn't know me, because I would have went to UCLA. But God had other plans. So while I was feeling ashamed for being a teen mother, God was preparing me to be standing right here today with a PhD, with my own organizations. Because if I hadn't come here, who knows what my path would have been. Keelan had his baby at 17 years old. It broke my heart knowing my child was having a baby as a teen like me. Now Keelan is dead and gone, and his son is all I have. So while we're judging these kids for whatever it is, you don't know what God is preparing the path ahead of them for. We cannot judge them for whatever they choose to do. They have to walk their path. All we can do is make sure that we're instilling in them some morals and values the best we can. And if they choose to go any other way, just know they're going to end up right back on their path, because their path is set for them. So y'all please join us at all of those things. Please take some snacks from the back. We have plenty. Take some for your kids and grandkids. And if y'all need anything, let me know. Thank you. Take your trash too. Take all your trash, because we do have church Sunday. Oh, come back to church Sunday. Brother Ardoin is going to lead us in prayer as we leave. We were supposed to do that before we began, but we was kind of having some technical stuff we was dealing with, so.
Let me just say, thank you, Rochetta. Give Rochetta thank her for being the person that she is and what she do, not only for herself and her family, but especially for the community. And like she was saying, we as a people have to learn to get involved, You know, as great as Martin Luther King was, great man, but he would not have gotten as far as he had if it were not for the people behind him. He had to have some people behind him for him to get to where we are today. So like Rochetta and all of the activists with her, when we have the opportunity to get behind them and support them, and I notice us as a black people, we don't get involved until it affects us personally. Sometimes it's too late, then we want to get on the bandwagon when we should have got. I remember when, well, I'm not even going to go there. Just, Rochelle, let me say this. I know you have your own building, but whenever you need to use this, whenever you need a bigger place or you need, this building here is always open for you and whatever you may need it for, okay? I just want you to know that. So thank all of you guys for coming, for being with us. Let's get in the bandwagon. Let's support and let's encourage her and her organization, especially the young, Glenn told me a few minutes ago that he have to leave next week because his nephew, like he was saying, him and the guy had gotten an argument, and a few days later, the guy saw him at the filling station, at a gas station, and shot him in the back and killed him. Young guy in high school. That's the path that our young people. So I commend you for having the programs to try to reach our young people, Thank you guys for coming. What you forgot? Thank you. Thank you. Let us pray. Father, we thank you so much. The world in which we live in seems like it's in turmoil, but we're not going to let that take our spirit away, because we know that above all things, you are God, and that you are in control of this world. Sometimes it may be feel like we walking on a dead-end street. But let us know, that God, that you are the light at the end of the tunnel. You promise in your word that you will watch over us, that you would never leave us. Just help us to be obedient, to trust, and to obey. We thank you for the work that Rochetta is doing, her and her organization. Give her the insight, the courage to never give up, because Satan wants her to stop. But let her know that she's not alone. You promise you will never leave us, nor would you forsake us. We ask that you bless each person in here tonight, each family that is represented, and we pray for the youth of our community, for the youth of the world. Watch over them, dear God. Thank you for Jesus. In his name we pray and give thanks always. Amen. Amen.